Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Global League Season 9 Minions Round 3. In the upper left-hand corner, we have HansNihall playing as Ukraine. And in the lower right-hand corner, we have PieChild playing as Das Germans. Let's go to the production tab. Both players dead even in production of their barracks on the swamp. 3 oil derricks, 1 in the middle and 1 on either side. I consider the 1 on either side to be a natural derrick for each player. And we see a medic coming out for PieChild. That's going to give him slightly less mass on the field. HansNihall spreading his troops out, and each player going for the center. HansNihall going deep. Sending a scout out there. And a conga line is absolutely going to get processed by the meat grinder. HansNihall taking up a static position, but 3-on-1. That's how that goes. Okay, there's an engineer for PieChild. And no engineer for HansNihall. We're going to see a significant imbalance of economy. PieChild cleans up the center of the map before moving in his engineer. And PieChild now about 9 seconds behind in production of his war factory. I'm not sure what happened there. Maybe he flubbed his build order. PieChild still yet to move in his engineer. There he goes. 2 minutes and 15 seconds before someone attempts a capture. Still no engineer from HansNihall. I wonder if he's waiting for vehicles on the field before he moves out. HansNihall queues up an APC. And that might exactly be what he's doing. He's got grenadiers lined up too. I wonder if he's planning on a gren drop. PieChild without a defensive structure queued up. This is going to be very interesting. There they go. Getting in the taxi cab. Party of 5. Oh, double gren drop. We'll keep an eye on that. Both players about even in actions per minute. HansNihall strapped for cash. And, yeah, behind in income too. That's not surprising. Being behind in a oil derrick there. Taxicab engineer gets in the Ranger. And that gren drop is still sitting back at base. HansNihall with slightly more army value on the field, and well, not so great positioning. I gotta admit, he was waiting for that other APC to come out. Broke as a joke. Very risky going. I mean, that's a lot of money's worth. You know? I mean, what's the APC cost? Like 700? So he's got 2 of those. And then he's got the Grenadiers. 10 of them. PieChild up to 2 oil derricks and a significant income advantage at 4 minutes and 42 seconds. And we have seen PieChild's first expansion MCV come out. And the MCV might be the one to spot these Grenadiers coming in. Or rather, APCs. Hello. See what Hans does with this. PieChild seems completely unaware. Alright. Here's the business. Oh, double strike on the war factory and the power plant. But it looks like PieChild microing his rifleman to take out those grenadiers. Or not. A few grenadiers remain. Take out a few power plants. Oh, and they don't get the war factory. I don't know if that was worth it. HansNihall with significant troop mass on the field. Really, I mean, I suppose that was a good distraction to get his units in position. PieChild seems to be lining up a counterattack. He's got heavy armor on the field. Both players with one economic expansion. No eco slide yet from HansNihall. 6 minutes and 15 seconds. HansNihall destroying one of Pie's oil derricks. He's going to have one left after this. And I believe there is an engineer in that ranger. HansNihall is about to be attacked through the ore field. PieChild's got 2 medium tanks and significant troop mass. Boy, yeah, I don't know if that Gren drop was really worth it. Could have microed the APCs a little bit better. You could have saved, you could have killed off those riflemen. There's 2 harvesters down. And that engineer just doesn't quite make the mark. Oh, wait, yes he does. He got him. Wow. Yara, calling good game. Yara's not even playing. HansNihall. His main base getting wiped. Absolutely wiped. Yeah, that grenadier, that Gren drop just set him back. Stalled his eco. He didn't try to capture early in the game. He's got a small force moving in from 2 different flanks. Heavy tanks in the mix. And I don't think we're looking at a base trade here. PieChild's got the cash, and he's cranking out soldiers as fast as he can. Whoa, we got some flamers down there, but Hans gets chased off. Hans calling good game at 8 minutes and 22 seconds. 223 to 112. Let's go to the eco graph. So this right here is because PieChild has that oil derrick, and PieChild continues to eco up. Let's go to the army graph. Hans is ahead for a bit in army value, and actually stays ahead for most of the game, but again, it's not pure army value that matters. He had quite a few expensive units. They were out of position, right, moving towards PieChild's base, and he just totally left his base open. Yeah, that grenadier drop was a spicy move, but you know, I think if he had microed his APCs and taken out the riflemen that were shooting up his grenadiers, he would have definitely gotten this war factory. And I honestly don't think that would have saved him, though, because PieChild still had quite a few tanks and troops on the field moving towards Hans's base. So, on to game number 2.
Battle control terminated. Battle control initialized.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Red Alert Global League Season 9 Minions Round 3. In the upper left-hand corner, playing as the British, we have PieChild. And in the lower right-hand corner, playing as Ukraine, we have HansNihall. Let's go to the production tab. Hans with about a half-second, quarter-second lead in deployment of his barracks. And I believe the name of this map is Oregano, if I'm not mistaken. A total of 3 oil derricks, the center one being surrounded by barbed wire. PieChild's going south for his natural derrick. HansNihall's going west to contest PieChild's natural derrick, but he's going to be running into a static formation there. See if we see any spicy moves like we saw last game. HansNihall is going War Factory first. Now, as the Soviets, that's an interesting move because that either means you're going flak trucks or you're going APCs. Or you're just going to eco up, which is also a possibility. 5 stack of riflemen and a medic at PieChild's southern oil derrick. What I would call his natural derrick. And an engineer moving towards the northern derrick. Looks like PieChild is being aggressive with the oil derricks again. And, well, I'm not going to say unfortunately, but Hans is being passive with the oil derricks and not going for the capture early on in the game. HansNihall queues up a flak truck. Very interesting. Hans significantly behind in income. PieChild went double ref, and yeah, double ref is awesome for early game money. See what's next in line for Hans. Now he's going to eco up. But he's got that flak truck on the field, and that's going to make quick work of this infantry brigade. A lone rifleman from PieChild moving in to explore Hans's base. And Hans moves in to start poking away at the medic. Good move. You got to get that medic because the flak truck, its damage will be negated by the medic. Kills the medic, drives off the infantry battalion, and Hans has got 15 seconds until he drops his service depot. Comes out with another ore refinery. That is an interesting build order. He's low on cash though, so I think he might. He should sell the flame tower. Okay, maybe he doesn't have to. PieChild, 20 seconds until his service depot appears, but he's got 4 harvesters on the field and 1 oil derrick. Both players on 4 harvesters and a massive infantry force from PieChild right off the bat. Line of sight being provided by the ranger, but being put on low health. So he's going to have to be careful with that ranger play. And that's 2 flak trucks on the field for HansNihall. Finds the ranger and kills it. Wonderful. First expansion MCV out before 420 from HansNihall, moving towards his natural expansion. That troop mass still on the field from PieChild. 3 seconds until PieChild's MCV appears, and there it is. APC out for HansNihall. And an economic expansion from Hans. Backs it up with a flame tower. And Hans is also going to have the advantage here, getting heavy armor on the field. It looks like we have the beginnings of a rocket drop from HansNihall, loading up that APC with rocket troopers. But Hans is strapped for cash. Slightly ahead in income. Though he's only on 5 harvesters. This is going to hurt him in the long term because he's trying to build a lot. He's trying to eco up at the same time. Should really concentrate on ecoing up. Honestly, because he's got this unused ore patch here. I got a bad feeling about this. Here comes that rocket drop. Going after the power plants. PieChild takes a second to respond. And the Special Forces unit hops back in the taxi and rides off into the sunset. Good show. And that puts PieChild on low power. Really slows down his production. We'll see if Hans does anything else with that rocket brigade. But Hans has got a rather small army on the field moving out. It would appear. I'd really like to see more scouting from both of them, to be quite frank. We're at 6 minutes and 45 seconds. We're yet to see a significant engagement. Both players ecoing up. 7 harvesters for HansNihall, 6 for PieChild, and 1 oil derrick. PieChild moves out with his tanks to scout. And HansNihall is coming out with another expansion. He's on low power. Drops that Tesla coil. And forced to power it down. Both players even in actions per minute in the mid-40s. Very good. And PieChild's looking for a flank here. Hans with that rocket brigade. See if he makes something happen here. And Hans just might be scouting out this base, but runs into a big bunch of stuff. Holy cow. Both players on 1 oil derrick. Hans has captured a derrick from PieChild. Actually, no. PieChild never got his hands on that derrick. HansNihall's forces completely out of position to block this flank here. Hans is building a mine layer. And this does not look good. You know, it seems to me that PieChild's pretty good at keeping a large army force out of sight and out of mind. He's got a double flank going on here, but he's got big forces back at his base, PieChild. So that's very difficult to attack into. He's got a significant force here. And I don't know what he's waiting for. Here he goes, moving in towards the ore fields. There's 1 ore truck down. HansNihall realizes this, pulls the other ore truck, but his base is going down. Holy cow. Sells everything, including the MCB. Second ore truck going down. And the mine layer returning to a base that is about to be obliterated. HansNihall pulls his whole forces back to try to counter this attack using the line of sight advantage from the buildings, trading well. And scouting with those flak trucks, he's going to rout these forces without losing his entire base. Those medium tanks are going to continue to harass his economy. PieChild moves out his MCV. Both players with huge armies on the field before they see battle. HansNihall. Well, what's he doing? He's looking for the expansion MCV, but he's not finding it. Instead, he's going for the oil derrick and some eco-harassment from PieChild, sending in a group of 4 medium tanks to take out the ore fields. I don't agree with that move. Maybe should have kept him right there. Another massive force from PieChild brewing, and HansNihall on low power doesn't have the ability to power up his 2 Tesla coils. Unfortunate. He's got a advanced power plant queued up. Another 10 seconds till that hits the field, and another Tesla coil in his pocket. PieChild moving towards Hans's original base location, and here comes the offensive from PieChild. And as soon as that Tesla coil gets powered up, the power plant goes down. Unfortunate. Alright, Pie's going to lose this MCV. But there is not a lot back at Hans's first, or rather second expansion to answer for this. And he's going to lose his MCV. HansNihall. Oh, very good hit from the V2. Hans comes out with another MCV. PieChild with a $5,000 army advantage. And that artillery not able to find significant shots. Yeah, as the guys in chat said, those V2s really saved Hans's neck right there. I mean, they found some really good hits and forced PieChild to move back. PieChild still with a $6,000 army value advantage. Behind in income, nearly broke on 6 harvesters and 0 oil derricks. Very interesting. So, okay, PieChild's lining up another attack across the right flank. And we got a lot of heavy tanks out there from HansNihall. If he can detect that flank, he can definitely drive them off. But I don't think he sees it coming. A Maginot line from PieChild, if there ever was one. Good scouting from HansNihall. Sees the tank. And I don't think he's pulling his harvesters, though. HansNihall doesn't keep moving in. PieChild moving into Hans's original base location to mop up. And Hans is going to lose a lot of harvesters here. Pulls the harvester back into the lines. Finding good crushes. And after all that, HansNihall only lost 1 harvester there. HansNihall in the lead in army value now. Hans has got aircraft on the field. Snipes out that artillery unit. And now his main forces can move in. But PieChild always attacking on 2 fronts. Focusing down that artillery unit and driving the infantry back. PieChild with better field control at this point. Mining off of a total of 7 ore patches. 7 ore mines. And 3 different patches. HansNihall has got a lot of aircraft on the field, which accounts for a large portion of his army value. Keeps going after those power plants. I like that. But PieChild's got a big power surplus. HansNihall doing some really good scouting with those aircraft. Defensive scouting, though. Doesn't really know where PieChild's army is at this point. PieChild comes in with another tank flank, but that's a lot of heavies there. They're going to drive him right back. PieChild coming out with an air force of his own, moving out a massive force, and HansNihall relegated to the lower left-hand side of the map. Hans has still got 2 MCVs. And Hans doing some really good scouting. Gets his army in position and forces PieChild back. PieChild up to 9 harvesters. HansNihall on 7 harvesters in 1 oil derrick. And this is just a matter of time because, you know, Pie has field control at this point. So PieChild going full technology to tier 3. We'll see what he does with that. Queuing up a Tanya. 15 seconds still. We see Special Agent Tanya hit the field. Hans still doing some really good scouting with that aircraft. But a massive force from PieChild brewing. And we see HansNihall taking a look at the enemy base, seeing what's there. And finds that anti-aircraft gun. 16 minutes and 55 seconds. We've got a total of 40,000 army value from PieChild and 41,000 from HansNihall. I wouldn't be surprised if, comes out with another MCV. I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw longbows. There it is. Longbow, the anti-aircraft aircraft. And Longbow's going in for the eco snipe, but not finding it. Hans is going to move back to his original base location. He knows that PieChild hasn't occupied the space, and that might have been a good thing to do. PieChild's just going to move up slowly. He's going to keep advancing, and this longbow just gives such awesome line of sight. I mean, look at that. That's amazing. And that was a paratrooper drop from HansNihall. Some light eco harassment. Really just a distraction. HansNihall occupying his original base location, and it looks like the attack is coming soon. We got parabombs. Wow, finding awesome, awesome hits. Holy cow. So that takes PieChild back down to 47,000. I'm not sure what he was at before, but definitely wiping out about a third of his forces there at least. So we're going to keep an eye on the superpowers tab too, if I can find it. There we go. Iron Curtain charging from HansNihall. Chrono Shift charging from PieChild. Chrono Shift is ready. Let's see if he does anything with that. And a demo truck from HansNihall. Oh my goodness. Holy cow. This turned into a brutal, brutal battle. Here's the Chrono Shift. 4 heavy tanks into the eco lines. They're going to do some damage there. There's 2 harvesters down. There's 3 harvesters down. Amazing. Flak trucks with the Iron Curtain, providing great line of sight. PieChild charging his tanks in, finding great, great crushes with the tanks. V2 finding excellent hits. And the tanks on lower armor just melting in the face of those rocket troopers. PieChild now on the defensive. Loses his longbow. Loses his line of sight advantage. Forced to fall back. Tanya's not going to help you here. And that Yak is going to go hunting for Tanya. But it's going to see the anti-aircraft forces first. Wow, I was not expecting this from this battle. Oh, this looks familiar. PieChild moving in on the right-hand flank again with a tank force. Going to harass the unguarded main original base. Comes in with longbows. And absolutely decimating the eco. PieChild drops... Oh, wow. That was a defensive... That was a defensive nuke truck. But it doesn't manage to get them all. HansNihall rotating his army, sending his flak trucks after those longbows, but they're too quick for him. V2's finding good hits. And PieChild all the way back down to 18,000 army value. He is really on the back foot now. And, yeah, doesn't have any medics to repair his troops. Let's take a look at the Super Support Powers tab. I had a feeling about that. And that's an attack on the Iron Curtain. I don't know if they'll be able to knock it out, but Hans doesn't have a answer for this. Sells it. I don't think they'd be able to destroy that. I think he should have held on to it. The tanks really don't do great damage to buildings. HansNihall taking a look at the enemy base. I missed that. HansNihall 50 seconds till power bombs. Both players on 9 harvesters. Hans with control of the only remaining derrick on the field. And line of sight advantage thanks to those aircraft. This is really Hans's chance right now. And we got some kind of spicy drop coming in. That's a Tanya drop. First one we've seen in Minions. Both players flying at 50 actions per minute for Hans and 54.8 for PieChild. PieChild is going to go for a Tanya drop. 23 minutes and 30 seconds we're at. And the power bombs don't destroy anything. That's too bad. But he's got some... Oh, that was nice. The combination of power bombs and paratroopers. Oh, there's a nuke truck there. I don't know if Tanya's going to be effective here. And Tanya's Chinook gets shot down. And chat saying that they didn't see this. PieChild didn't see this nuke truck coming in. If he can find a troop mass, that's going to be great. But he's so close to that tank. Takes out 3 tanks and a longbow. That's expensive. 21,000 army value for PieChild and 35,000 for HansNihall. If Hans can continue to advance his line, he's going to find a hole eventually. And with those nuke trucks, you know, if he set one up the left side here, that'd be a good shot. Let's take a look at support powers. Chrono Shift is ready. An offensive rally point. And oh boy, that was a hell of a drop right there. Some friendly fire by the V2. And there's another nuke truck. Does significant damage to the Tesla coil, but also takes out a couple of troops. Iron Curtain is ready. Iron Curtain's structures. And we got another tank flank coming in from PieChild. Nope, he aborts that. I think PieChild is really scrambling right now to try to think of something. He had Hans. He really had him. But Hans just rebuilt and teched up. And, you know, the combination of Iron Curtain and Nuke Truck right now would be the ultimate. But Hans is going to go Mammoths. I love to see a full tech tree. "26 minutes and 20 seconds of non-stop action. Back and forth, back and forth. Each player getting up to about 50,000 in army value. And yep, there's another nuke truck coming in. Support power, 48 seconds until the demo or the Iron Curtain hits the field. There's the nuke truck. Unopposed. Oh, don't go that way. Don't go that way. Wow. He totally almost nuke trucked his whole army. Okay, nuke truck taking the road. Going right past that tank. And finds a little bit of the troop mass. But this is the money shot right here. Another chrono tank. Well, not a chrono tank, but you know what I mean. And a mammoth on its way from HansNihall. Both players using their all of their money available. Iron Curtain is ready. And PieChild's brewing up another flank. And that's a bit early. He's just going to drive those tanks deep into the enemy base. Not much time remaining on that Iron Curtain. And that was a pretty early Iron Curtain, to be honest. HansNihall ecoing up. He's broke as a joke. Attacking the ore lines of PieChild, and PieChild really doesn't have a good answer for this. Wow, defensive power bombs. And that was a full-on flank. That takes HansNihall down to 12 harvesters from whatever he was at. I don't know, actually. But Hans is absolutely walking PieChild's base. He's got V2s in the back lines. And he has cleaved PieChild's base in twain. One of those mammoths going down, the combination of artillery fire and carcasses blocking the way. And Hans is going to pull back. He's got more mammoths on the way. Advancing his line with his MCVs, but losing build radius back at his base, that is going to leave his eco very vulnerable. HansNihall and PieChild both completely strapped for cash. Holy cow, that is a close deployment. I don't know about that. He's going to have to move that MCV now. Moves it. Iron Curtain's hit with a sliver of health. Not the best attack, but entertaining nonetheless. There is another chrono shift. See? They can't do it. 5 tanks, just not enough to... 5 medium tanks, rather, not enough to kill an Iron Curtain. In the time that the chrono keeps him out there for. Another demo truck. Sorry about the shaky cam. And a tank flank from PieChild trying to make something happen. And that demo truck is going to run into those turrets. Does some damage, not the best. Just really got to go for the main base. Those medium tanks are so quick. But lightning is quicker. Going after the airfield. Kills one yak. And the other yak takes off before it can be destroyed. HansNihall looking for some way past the defensive lines of PieChild. HansNihall coming out with another mammoth. Bringing him up to a total of 6 mammoths in 1 second. There it is. And a demo truck. 20 seconds till the demo. Sells the Iron Curtain. And, he's got to sell off the Soviet tech structure, so no more mammoths for Hans, not at the moment. He's going to rebuild his airfields. Oh, and HansNihall has got a Tesla coil in a very good position. If he can back it up with another Tesla coil and a wall, maybe he doesn't even need to do that. Yeah, I don't know about that, though. I think Hans should have let those V2s soften up the defensive lines. He wouldn't have lost so many infantry there. Especially the way that those pillboxes are stacked on top of each other. And they're deep, too. But I think this is just a mammoth crush right here. HansNihall keeping those mammoths rolling. And really no answer for these mammoths back here. No answer for this tank flank either. Takes out the Tesla coil. And defensive power bomb's going to come down right on top of his MCV. Missing the mark. And a very forward Soviet tech center. PieChild counterattacking. And Hans really doesn't have an answer for this right here. 3 seconds until we see another demo truck. Sells off that MCV, and those mammoth tanks are still cruising through PieChild's base. I would really like to see HansNihall keep them alive. Loses another one. It's down to 5 now. And where the heck is that demo truck? Did that go off already? All right. PieChild calling good game. At 35 minutes and 19 seconds. Wow, that was a lot to follow. But, classic example of why you should finish your enemy off when you have the chance. HansNihall putting on a great show of what Soviet Tier 3 is capable of. And coming out with, I think, a grand total of, it must have been at least 8 demo trucks. Let's take a look at the score there. 1,647 to 1,470 at 35 minutes of gameplay. The ecograph, we can't see the whole thing, but both players trading back and forth and back and forth. Those chrono shifts really disrupting the... those chrono shifts of the tanks doing a good job of disrupting the ore patches, but not such a good job of destroying material. The tanks are a lot more effective against other vehicles. And let's take a look at the army graph. Yeah, towards the end of the game, HansNihall gets those mammoth tanks out. And, yeah, mammoth tanks are hard to deal with. They have a lot of armor, they have a lot of firepower, they're anti-troop, they're anti-aircraft, they're anti-tank. So what are you supposed to do against them? Honestly, other tanks. If you can surround them, slow them down, get some artillery in there, and get them to stop moving, you can deal with them pretty effectively. But there you have it. 1-1. First game going to PieChild. Second game going to HansNihall. Yeah. Red Alert Global League, Season 9, Minions Round 3.
Battle control terminated.